Welcome to Medical Marijuana and Wellness. Today's topic is the endocannabinoid system, a key component to understanding how cannabis works as medicine. Joining me today is Amy Green, an RN at MMTC. Amy, welcome.
It's great to be here, Marc.
You've had a little bit of experience with this, and so I think as a nurse and as someone who helps a lot of patients, so why don't we just dive into what the endocannabinoid system is, because it's a big word, confusing to a lot of people, but really critical to the cannabis world. Mm-hmm. We all have heard about our nervous system. We all know we have a nervous system. We know that if we hurt our finger, our hand, our knee, a signal is sent to our brain saying, Houston, we have a problem. And for years, doctors have been studying the nervous system, trying to understand that when your body says, Houston, we have a problem, what does your body do with it? Well, what's interesting is when we started studying about cannabis about 30 years ago, what we found out and what they discovered is in our body, in every person's body, in every mammal's body, we have a matching endocannabinoid system. And what that endocannabinoid system does is it helps your body regulate itself. Amy, can you tell me a little bit about the endocannabinoid system and also what it really addresses from the standpoint of what it manages?
Yeah, absolutely. So the endocannabinoid system is really an integral part of so many different processes in your body. The endocannabinoid system is going to help with memory, emotional processing, appetite, sleep, temperature control of the body, the inflammatory system, and your immune responses.
And it's really addressing and working with what they call the CB1 and CB2 receptors, which we see throughout our whole body.
Absolutely. CB1 usually going to be found in the brain and spinal cord, and then CB2 generally found in more peripheral parts of the body and on white blood cells.
Yeah, and very important, keeps your body balanced, keeps it in homeostasis. So what we found out is the endocannabinoid system made up of the CB1 and CB2 receptors are really key to our body managing itself. And what's interesting is the CB1 receptors are really key to being able to manage pain. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, absolutely. Since the CB1 receptors are mostly located in the brain and spinal cord, it's really responsible for modulating that pain response throughout the body.
Yeah, and if you take a look at the CB2 receptors, which are found in more of the periphery parts of the body, that's been known to really help not only control the immune system, but also inflammation. This is a key component of cannabis.
Absolutely. The CB2 receptor, which is mostly located throughout the rest of the body. There are some CB2 receptors in the brain and spinal cord, but again, they're mostly located in the periphery of the body. Those are going to be super important with modulating the inflammatory response throughout the body. So the more we could target CB2 receptors, the better anti-inflammatory patients can experience.
Sure. And when you take a look at really why are we so concentrated on CB1, CB2 receptors? Because as our body produces those endocannabinoids to help it manage itself, what's interesting is our body needs to be supplemented to have some extra endocannabinoids be put into it for it to do its body. An example is a senior citizen like myself is not producing the endocannabinoids like I did before, and it takes a little bit longer. The phytocannabinoids make up and actually help the body get the material it needs to stay in balance or homeostasis. This is very, very interesting because aren't the phytocannabinoids almost identical to the endocannabinoids?
Yeah, absolutely. So an endocannabinoid, endo meaning inside, these are the cannabinoids that our body is naturally producing. And then a phytocannabinoid is something that we are introducing into the body. So what we are doing when we use products like cannabis is we are supplementing the naturally occurring system in our body and giving it the products that it needs to work at its best ability to help us reach that homeostasis.
Yeah, and it's very interesting how it really is something that it's natural to your body. The phytocannabinoids identically mimic the endocannabinoids. So it isn't a foreign substance per se. It's something that your body's used to seeing and really expects to see to be able to put itself in balance. So we take a look at the effects that the cannabinoids have on our body. The CB1 and CB2 receptors, which react to THC and CBD, really address the immune system and inflammation components of our body. But CBD has really addresses more receptors than just that. It's kind of a super vitamin, isn't it?
It really is. Yeah, so CB1 and CB2 are going to be the main receptors that the CBD is interacting with in our body, but there are many, many more receptors that it's also interacting with. Just a couple of those, you have the 5-HT, which is a serotonin receptor that's going to be involved in your digestive process, blood flow, breathing. Then you have the A2A receptor, responsible for inflammation and coronary circulation. VR1, which is responsible again for body temperature and pain perception. And then you have the GRP55, which is a receptor that's responsible for blood pressure. So you're really addressing many other things than just the CB1 and CB2 when you have CBD.
Right. And it's interesting, really, what cannabis is doing is addressing the receptors of your body and really helping it stay in, like they mentioned, homeostasis. But it really acts as a super vitamin. And that's what's the important magic of cannabis is really the overall health benefits that it has for your body. Now, let's talk a little bit about what's made up of cannabis, because we hear the word cannabis, but tell me about the components of cannabis.
Yeah, so the cannabis plant is generally made up of three different parts. So you have your cannabinoids, for example, THC and CBD. You have terpenes, which are what's going to give cannabis its smell and its taste. And then you have flavonoids, which are also going to contribute to smell and taste. Now, the terpenes and flavonoids also have a lot of very important processes that they're involved in as well. They are responsible for relaxation, anti-inflammatory, pain responses. So the terpenes and the flavonoids combined with the cannabinoids are what gives cannabis its whole effect together.
Yeah. So in essence, the cannabinoids have a component that addresses the various receptors. It really opens up that receptors to drop in the terpenes and the flavonoids, which is the medical benefits, and really working together, you get something called the entourage effect. So the combination of cannabinoids, terpenes, and flavonoids work together. They work very synergistically, don't they, Amy?
Absolutely. And when you combine all of these parts together, you get something called the entourage effect. That's going to be all of the different components working together to address different problems throughout the body.
Yeah, and it's interesting. For example, CBD lessens the psychoactive effect of THC. This is very important, especially when you're first starting out with cannabis and learning how your dosing regime.
Absolutely. One of the big parts of medical cannabis is we don't want patients to feel that stoned, heady feeling. And so we always recommend products that have a lot of CBD in them to help lower the potential for that stoned, heady feeling.
Mm-hmm. And then, of course, the terpenes working with the cannabinoids and flavonoids give you a lot of the medical benefits. And really, it's really the combination of CBD and THC working together to give you the medical benefits, isn't it?
It really is. They really work best together. And so when you find a product that has THC, CBD, minor cannabinoids, and then a wide terpene and flavonoid profile, you're really getting a full medicine.
Mm-hmm. It's really there. So cannabinoids are very, very important. Tell me about the two main ones that we find.
Absolutely. So these are the ones that everybody has heard of. So CBD, found in the cannabis plant, found in hemp, it is not psychoactive, and it's generally going to target the CB2 receptors, which are mostly again found in the peripheral organs and in the immune system. And then you have delta 9 THC, again, found in the cannabis plant, and it can only be found in hemp plants that contain less than 0.3% THC, meaning if it has over 0.3% THC, it's then considered a cannabis plant instead of a hemp plant. Now, delta 9 THC does have the potential of being psychoactive depending on dose, and it's mostly going to target the CB1 receptors, which are in the brain, spinal cord, and some organs.
Yeah, and that pretty much explains why you have the psychoactive side effects from using delta 9 THC in certain quantities. So those are kind of the main components. Amy, any last comments about the endocannabinoid system you want to pass on?
Yeah, of course, I'm always going to recommend ratio products that have some part THC, some part CBD. I will always recommend using a treatment journal and just start low, go slow. This is a journey, it's not a race.
Right. So if you're looking at getting a card, we have the MMTC, Medical Marijuana Treatment Clinics of Florida, available. They have 25 clinics here in Florida. We have CBD products from My Botanical Wellness. And more importantly, this video and other videos can be found in the YouTube, My Marijuana Aware YouTube channel. Please feel free to like and subscribe and tune in for more informative videos. Amy, thank you very much for your help.
It is my pleasure.
Appreciate it.